Joe Consul here, coming at you with a video about the step-by-step probate process and what's involved. And this will be a short video about what you need to do in a situation that is not contentious and where things go quote-unquote smoothly. Someone passes away, someone close to you, you have to gather a few things. Say, we'll start first by suggesting there's a will. So you have to get a copy of the original will. So you've got a copy of the original will that was signed, witnessed, ideally notarized, and you have an original copy of the death certificate. These are available, say you're in the city, they're available at Vital Statistics, that's an office on Market Street. Or if you're not in the city, these things are available at the county courthouses, or you can order them online and they can be delivered to those courthouses and you can go and pick them up. So you need an original death certificate, and if a will exists, then you're going to need that will. You can make an appointment, oftentimes with the county courthouses. Philadelphia allows walk-ins. The county courthouses do as well, but oftentimes you'll sit and wait for a while. So you make an appointment and you show up and you sit down with an officer at the Register of Wills. And what they'll do is review all of the paperwork. If you've hired a lawyer like myself, we've already sent that information to these different agencies and they're ready for us to show up and do what needs to be done. So we show up and we've already have the like you have to tell these registers of wills the value of the estate, meaning if there's property involved, you have to come up with an assessed value at the date of death of the person that died, provide that information to the Register of Wills, and create a list of heirs, and bring all of that with your petition for probate, your death certificate, and if there's a will, your the original will down to the Register of Wills. Then you sit down, you talk to the officer there for a little bit. They'll eventually swear you in as the executor of the estate, or if there's no will, as the administrator of the estate. They'll take the originals of everything you bring down to them, and you'll write them a check depending on the fee schedule. And after that, after a certain number of days, you'll be entitled to come and pick up your letters, which will then allow you to do things like transfer property, open a bank account to hold funds for the estate, and speak to anyone you need to speak to after that point to actually deal with closing up the estate. There might be bills or credit cards in the deceased's name. Now you have this documentation that allows you to speak to the banks and anyone else that might be involved, that might have debts that you need to resolve or even negotiate. And again, bringing on a lawyer like myself, we handle a lot of that work for you, including the difficult process of negotiating and dealing with debts that come due against the estate. And there's a lot of laws that exist about when you, as the administrator or the executor, can actually distribute the money of the estate, because there could be debts and you need to do things to make the world aware that there's someone has passed away and there may be a need for them to submit their bills so you can pay them off if you're able to. Now, a final thing to remember about that point is if you're the administrator or the executor of an estate, you are not being personally held liable for any of these debts. But you are being held liable for the distribution of the funds. So if you've got debts on the estate, you can't just give the money away to the different heirs until you deal with the debts. And if you do, that's when you can be held liable. I get that question a lot. But the answer is, it's not your personal debt. You pay the debts first before you can distribute the money to the heirs. And there's a lot more that goes into that. And in the situation if you come upon a situation where you need to speak to me about it, I'm happy to help explain further.